This is the luxury world. Get inspired with us today and tomorrow. If you check the 2022 watch market, it's clear that it's been somewhat erratic. Watch prices have skyrocketed and are now falling at a quicker rate than when they first rose. Inflation, global market confidence, gray market investors, and artificial supply constriction are combining in a perfect storm that might bring down the timepiece industry in 2022. Ask yourself, who is this terrible for on the surface, and you'll get a different answer. It's possible to make the case that those responsible for creating this bubble will be the ones to bear the weight of the fallout and hence be pushed out of the market. Watch collectors who have waited patiently over the past 3 or 4 years in the perfect situation because they can now acquire Rolex and other high-end watches from authorized dealers or purchase pre-owned timepieces at reasonable costs. It's crazy how history keeps repeating itself, and anyone with a decent memory can immediately notice the pattern. The timepiece industry has been growing and has continued to rise, with many participants in the market acting as if that will be the market's eternal nature. This is comparable to the housing crisis that occurred in 2008. There will, without fail, come a time when there is a correction, and when that time comes in an unstable market, collapses are likely to occur. Stainless steel Rolex watches are now being sold for 3 times MSRP. Stainless steel Patek Philippe Nautilus watches are selling for 5 times to 30 times MSRP, and there are too many other types to list. We believe the watch market will decline for the rest of 2022, and we'll discuss the factors that we believe are causing this decline in this video. What are the external factors affecting the watch market in 2022? Number 1. Stock market. When it comes to making massive purchases, a person's overall financial assurance has a major impact on the results. It is not a difficult choice to purchase a watch that costs $15,000 when most people's portfolio values are falling. According to our analysis, the stock market is the primary factor that influences the watch market. Number 2. Inflation. When deciding between necessities and wants, a person's purchasing power is a significant factor to consider. The value of our currencies is decreasing as the inflationary spiral that is out of control continues. This makes the distinction between satisfying one's wants and satisfying one's requirements much more apparent. And this is evident given where we are in the watch market in 2022. Prices have gotten so exorbitantly inflated, in part because inflation has reached such a high level that the free market is beginning to push back by lowering the demand in the watch sector. Third, government restriction. During the recent pandemic, countries across the world imposed travel restrictions. For many in the middle and then to the upper class, that meant no more vacations, which meant extra money getting into people's bank accounts. Luxury goods were clearly taking up a large portion of the money that would otherwise have been invested in other items. Fortunately, people are traveling again, but the interest in wristwatches will not rise in 2022 just yet. Fourth is monetary relief programs. For many, monetary support is available as a form of free money even though they don't need it. People who struggle to get by aren't the ones we're talking about. Instead, we're talking about a significant percentage of the country that received monies that they wouldn't have otherwise needed. Inflation and increasing demand for various products, including timepieces, were fueled by the influx of cash. So the next question is, what are the internal factors affecting the 2022 watch market? First is the outside investors. During the epidemic and lockdowns of 2020, investors were forced to search elsewhere for returns on their money. As soon as individuals weren't allowed to spend their money on normal things, it was discovered that the demand for luxury goods grew rapidly. As a result, a large number of investors from outside the watch industry were drawn to the project. Outside investors are suddenly becoming victims of their own success due to the market's recent pullback. Many are said to have taken on too much debt to satisfy forthcoming obligations or avoid losses. As a result of this type of economic activity, inventories are soon depleted and sales are halted. Second, choking supply. Suppliers have been limiting the supply of many popular watches, regardless of whether they are outside investors, jewelry stores, or personal watch dealers. You may be wondering why someone would do this. Because of the expectation that the restricted model would now be regarded as an investment watch, prices will climb once supply is restricted. As a result, stainless steel watches are selling for quadruple MSRP, and some brands like Rolex do not have any authorized retailers dealers selling their products. Due to a decrease in pricing and a consequent increase in supply, the market is experiencing a surge in prices as everyone is scrambling to move their inventory before prices fall much further. Third is wise money. The thing that makes us the happiest is this internal force in the 2022 watch market. It would appear that consumers are definitely beginning to get smart and are no longer willing to fall into the hands of the games that are played by authorized dealers or the pre-owned market. It takes two to tango, and when purchasers decide that they have had enough of overpaying, prices will naturally begin to fall as a natural consequence. When it comes to purchasing certain watches, let's wait and see how far costs may be driven down by purchasers' actions or lack thereof, and then we'll make a purchase. Why does a 2022 watch market crash be a good thing? In 2022, when the watch market was at its peak, the circumstances were, however, unsustainable. The act of collecting evolved into investing, and as a result, prices spiraled out of control. We are confident that we are speaking for a large number of watch enthusiasts when we say that we would prefer to participate in a watch market in which we could buy the watches that we desire without having to wait on waiting lists, being asked to buy other watches in order to get the watches that we want, or trying to pay inflated prices on the used market. Using the money we have painstakingly saved, we can each resume our watch collections and purchase the timepieces we have always wanted. What we anticipate is that the entirety of this experience will lead to the brand's better understanding of the demand for the things they provide. They have been subjecting their prices to the stress test for years, and as a result, they are able to internally justify increasing output if it becomes necessary to do so. Will watch prices continue to fall? Watch prices are likely to drop in 2022 due to the economy's current situation and the push on dealers to shed their inventory. Will the gray market go away? It's not going to happen. As long as there's a need for pre-owned timepieces, there is always a place for the gray market. Though more truthful pricing and inventory control behaviors are expected to improve the gray market's behavior. How long before we see Rolex in 80 cases? According to our predictions, Rolex timepieces will be more readily available in cases from Rolex authorized dealers by the end of 2023. This should lead to a more healthy market for Rolex consumers, as Rolex has been focusing on streamlining its production and attracting more outside investors. Is it the greatest time to sell a watch right now? It depends on whether you acquired it as an investment or for personal enjoyment. If anyone purchased it as an asset, we predict that prices on trendy models will continue to fall, so now would be an excellent opportunity to sell. If someone purchased a watch for personal enjoyment, only they will know when it's appropriate to sell. A watch market bubble does not exist. Watches are still a tremendous alternative investment despite the unusually high market. Our opinion is that watch collectors will continue to desire horological instruments since they represent a value, relatively lightweight, and scarce asset class that is in high demand due to expanding market needs. An old-world combination of talents combining microengineering expertise with the skill of a professional watchmaker or an artist is found in collectible timepieces. You can't wear your Ferrari into the boardroom, but you can bring your Rolex, as an enthusiast point out. To put it another way, even in this unprecedented market frenzy, taking a long position in the exemplary timepieces makes sense. There you have your luxury watch video for today. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, hit the notification bell, and subscribe to our channel. Please forward this video to someone if you believe we have been helpful. You can express your gratitude for the dedication and effort we all put into making this film with just one share. This is The Luxury World, and we'll see you next time.